It all started so simply. I had just finished my usual morning routine of nude funkercise, fired up the Barcalounger, grabbed a quick bite to eat, and prepared to watch some serious tube. Little did I know, my snack was sent by Rez.
Since I started Saturn Day a number of years ago now, I have tackled quite a few mascot games. For those too young to remember the mascot-heavy days, they were primarily in the late 80s to mid-90s, where it seemed like every single video game company wanted to have a mascot character be the company's official, mascot. For a time, every single company was trying to develop the next great mascot. They just pick an animal and that was their mascot. Fast forward to 2017, and there are only a few mascots left. The industry has changed so much so that few companies outside of Nintendo, Sega, and maybe one or two others even bother with mascot characters anymore. Gex the Gecko was originally the mascot for the Panasonic 3DO home console. His first video game was even the pack-in game for the Panasonic models of the 3DO console from a certain point on. While the 3DO itself was a little too expensive for mass market adoption and therefore world domination, Gex was known as a very fun and enjoyable action platformer at a time when there were countless available on the market. Now that was back in 1994-1995, but how does Gex' first outing fare 20 years later? The Saturn and PlayStation 1 ports hit the scene about a year or so after the 3DO original was released back in November of 1994. My 3DO is packed away, so I don't really have any means of comparing the original version to this Saturn port, so the review will have to be based entirely on that particular version. What I can talk about is everything that makes Gex Gex. For one thing, the humor isn't too bad. Usually these attitude-based games don't hold up, but this one had me smirking every now and then. Yes, the jokes repeat themselves way too often, but they're not as vomit-inducing as some of the other mascot character games from the time. Gex's gameplay is something like you'd expect to find from Super Mario World, where the levels are broken up across a variety of different worlds. The bizarre element here is that the progression system is overly complex. For example, when you start the game, you're only able to access one world, the graveyard. Once inside the graveyard hub, you'll notice a wide assortment of television sets. However, only one at a time opens up. But get this, they don't open up automatically. You need to locate a remote control within a level to open or unlock the next level. If you complete the level without the remote control, you'll have to jump back into the stage and keep repeating it over and over until you locate the remote to unlock the next world, or actually the next stage. I was never a fan of systems like this, as I just want to finish the level and move on. It's okay if there's secrets to unlock and whatnot, but not even being able to play the next level because I just happened to miss one item always seemed like a bizarre gameplay mechanic. The other worlds included in the game are Cartoon World, Jungle World, Kung Fu World, and finally Rez's Nerve Center, where the final boss awaits. And as you can likely tell, the game isn't overly long, but let me tell you, it is challenging. Gex only has a few moves available to protect him on his lengthy journey. He can jump on enemies and perform something like a tail butt stomp of sorts. He can perform a simple tail whip attack, which is actually his primary attack, or he can find a variety of power-ups that allow him to throw various projectiles at enemies. He also has a tongue lash, which is very useful for collecting those power-ups. That's not all though. What really made Gex feel different was his ability to attach himself to surfaces. It's pretty fun being able to walk upside down on ceilings to locate hidden items or areas. There are also other areas that work similar to Super Mario World, where Gex can attach himself to the background and walk around on all fours. The original 3DO version allowed fans to save their progress to the internal memory, but the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn versions required you to locate a VHS tape scattered around a couple of the stages in order to grant you a password, and I was never a fan of systems like that. Just give me the password. Gex is voiced by the famous stand-up comic Dana Good, or at least I think that's how he pronounces his name. And as I mentioned before, the lines remain fairly humorous today. They're a little grating, but not too bad. And while Gex is very much a relic of a time long forgotten, the game itself is actually worth checking out if you can find it at an affordable price. Usually this one doesn't ask for too much on the secondary market, so just keep a watchful eye on auctions and you should be able to score a copy for around $20 or so.
That's what I call getting some tail.